All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is not already 2-0 in favor of Super in this series. It's still 0-0 because our next series is just going to be NaTuRal versus Super. We're going to be following that match a little bit further. But now I get to use my awesome statistics screen, which I'm super proud of that I messed up last time. Here we go. All right. Stat screen, go. XSplit. There we go. Yeah. All right, so Super versus NaTuRal. The NaTuRal is a Korean Terran player who I guess isn't actually super successful just yet. Has only won $50 in prize money so far. So that's less than ideal. Ooh. Never mind.
It's less than not much.
Yeah. Super, on the other hand, you know, there's $50 for NaTuRal and prize money winnings. Super has won $22,000 and is playing for Team Africa Freaks. But NaTuRal apparently is an MVP Terran player. But taking a look, these guys I think may have played in the past. Yeah, they played one time during the SSL 2016, the Season 1 qualifiers in the morning group. And Super just straight up 2-0 NaTuRal. So, I don't know. I thought that I had checked out NaTuRal beforehand. I gave a mention to him. Because I think I tried out my stat screen and everything with Gumiho versus NaTuRal. I think that was like one of the potential matchups like super early on before the bracket got regenerated. And I think that he had played versus Gumiho a couple of times and it didn't look quite so devastatingly bad. But
he used to be on Team Lefang, which this is like deja vu. So either we've looked him up before, Rivkin and I, maybe he played in like a Corsair Cup or something, or we had another person from that team because we were like, I didn't even know that was a team, right? The Lefang Cup is a tournament. Apparently it was, and he was on it like a couple of years ago.
All right, well, we are going to be hopping to game number 1 for that series regardless. Again, NaTuRal versus Super. First map is going to be Frost. We don't have a map intro for this.
Okay, I believe they're both ready. I mean, they both said hi, so
yeah.
They're probably ready.
That's basically a ready, right?
I want to make sure.
All right, but yeah, it's going to be a Terran versus Protoss. Always a matchup that I'm happy to cast.
All right, let's do it.
All right, hop into Frost. But you know, it's sort of interesting because I think there was a straw poll on Reddit fairly recently where people are asking, like, you know, in Legacy of the Void, what's your favorite matchup? Now that we've had like a decent amount of time, and I think that it's sort of shifted a bit. It used to really heavily be in favor of Terran versus Zerg, but I think Terran versus Protoss is like a more popular matchup than it used to be.
Okay, I agree with that. I guess we'll go into it after the intros.
All right. Well, spawn down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Africa Freaks. Give it up for Super.
In the top left, as the red Terran, he is MVP's NaTuRal. So you said it's like a more popular matchup. I guess like, I mean, I always liked watching PvT. I guess it's a Terran, and you probably always liked it as watching as like a Protoss. But
yeah,
I don't know about like the you know, the people that are indifferent to races, they don't actually play StarCraft 2 that much, or of course the Zerg players out there, like how much they like the matchup in the past. But I guess it got to a frustrating point where I honestly did stop liking it. I didn't care as much. I just assumed the Terrans were gonna have a hard time, and the Protoss were gonna get to like a death ball, and then it was gonna A move. Like regardless of balance, it just wasn't that fun of a matchup.
Yeah.
Towards the later stages. I mean, neither was PvZ, to be honest. I really like Protoss now, like a lot better. I think all of their matchups have drastically improved.
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with that. It's become a lot less deathball-y. There's a lot more kind of weird harassment, or at least like interesting micro, I think, that happens with a lot of their engagements. Although I still find it a little bit funny that like I sometimes think the mid-game stage of Protoss has sort of defaulted to like one of the less micro-intensive compositions where they're not like, okay, High Templars, you know, Voider, all the other random units, forget it. Immortals and Adepts. Let's just get Immortals and Adepts and like maybe some Stalkers mixed in. I'm like, okay, this is probably of the Protoss armies you can make one of the most A-movie. And like, let's also mix in Archons. Yeah, sure. Archons you don't have to micro.
Yeah, I feel like though that what it's not exactly like super Gosu unless I mean some people are okay with like soccer shirt, and that's always fun to watch. It is about finding the right positions. Like I'll always be in favor of saying Terran does more micro. I mean that's obvious bias, right? But,
Yeah.
but as in terms of like finding positions, like actually taking a good concave, because you know you're down to gateway units, which okay they might not be as micro intensive or more micro intensive than Colossus, but at least they aren't like super duper splash, which I don't know, just always looked so boring. I don't know. But now it looks like it's like a mass scale battle versus mass scale battle, and it's like, Pros actually has a chance after they lose an army to remake it because it's not just robo units.
Yeah.
And like super expensive units. And there's actually like a little bit more back and forth. Of course, I actually feel pretty bad for the Protoss when it comes to Liberators, gonna be honest. I don't think Liberators are overpowered like some Protosses do, but I do think that it makes the matchup like 10 times harder to get into a good position, because once they get to like 5 Liberators, like you have to be like in a great position to actually take them on.
Yeah, going up against Liberators is actually really frustrating. It's something that like it really does show, I think, the skill difference between a moderately skilled Protoss player and like a really good Protoss player, because the really good Protoss players, they'll always be able to find that sort of opening, get the pickoffs on the Liberators, and know when to blink forward aggressively, when to kind of sit back. But then like the moderate Protoss players, they'll constantly be bleeding out Stalkers versus like Liberator siege ups, and they'll try and blink in, but there'll be like an army behind it. There's all kinds of problems with that. But yeah, Reaper does manage to make its way in really far, and this is kind of funny because this Reaper's been trying to make it in for a while, and the Adept has been doing such a good job of pushing it out. It even stays alive still.
Wow. That is a pretty impressive Reaper, not gonna lie. Usually they do have to be sacrificed at this point. Did scout everything that looks very normal. I mean, a Twilight Council Robo, 3 gateways, that's not news. And he might even be able to scout the 3rd base. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, does he actually see me?
No, he's gonna see it in a second.
There you go. Pretty damn good Reaper. I'm not sure he would figure out that it is Blink instead of Resident Englades, though, because there have been no Stalkers warped in yet. They just got warped in and you didn't see them. And usually it is like, what are they getting from that Twilight Council? What do they have now? Is like usually how you determine it.
Yeah, what I already found also sort of interesting about NaTuRal's build is that he went for a fairly fast factory, which I think isn't super crazy. It goes for like the safety cyclone, I believe. Yeah, the safety cyclone, good for dealing with oracles and all kinds of other harassment. But then he just adds on a bunch of other barracks and actually delayed his starport for quite a bit to get up the Fast 2 Tech Lab. So I feel like he's going to have a pretty decent standing Bioforce that maybe he's just going to push across the map and potentially try and get a kill on the 3rd with.
Yeah, it's kind of like a middle of the road. It's not super late tech, it's not super fast tech, it's not a lot of the units, but it's also not like, bare bones, only like a Widow Mine or 2. So the Blink Stalker pressure that we see coming out from Super is, I feel like, I don't know how great it is to be on Frost, to be honest. We see it like on Frozen Temple a lot because there's a lot of like cliff area, but Frost, especially with NaTuRal's army on that ramp, yeah, you gotta take care of the Observer, should do pretty well against it, even without all the upgrades. It's almost a blessing in disguise not to have Stim here because you're not tempted to use it, so your army is actually living for quite some time without those medevacs.
Yeah.
And I don't think Super's gonna get anything done with this.
Well, there is another Observer over here, so maybe you can get a little bit done. Once again, the Cyclone locking on to a lot of these Stalkers and really pushing them back pretty quickly. The Stalker count just isn't that high. This is really meant to be a light pressure and a distraction for the Adepts coming in at the backside with a War Prism.
Yeah. So pretty nice combo right there, but the reinforcements should be able to take care of any War Prism harassment, and he probably can just go ahead and push when Stim is done. 6 SCVs is not that bad. Command Center on location is a little risky, knowing they're doing some Blink Stalker pressure. He shouldn't have to cancel it.
I think he's going to.
No, yeah, he doesn't have Stim, so he can't get over here very quickly. He's gonna have to cancel it, and that wasn't a lot of Stalkers. That was just, that was very unfortunate. That was about halfway done. Yeah,
that was just a light pressure. But big thank you to Moving Laterally. Thank you so much for the 17-month resubscription.
Woo. Well, 3rd base was canceled, actually replanted on location. That's another target for the War Prism harassment, which goes back in the main base. Doesn't do too much, though. Reinforcements, like I said, are taking care of it fine. And this push, Well, I think that Super is going to just barely be ready for it. You know, if it pushed 30 seconds sooner, you don't have +1, you don't have Resident Glaives, you don't have an Immortal, maybe your sentries weren't warped in yet. And that's actually like not a very good army versus Bio. But with all that considered, it is. And even with the sizes of the army we see, including force overcharges, Super should be safe.
Yeah, I feel like the best chance maybe for NaTuRal is to try and pull the army a bit out of position and use the Medivacs to elevate over the main, get a little bit of damage done, but no, it's not even going to work. He tries to stim around, he stims up again, I think, and it tries to, I don't know, he's trying to split up the army, but it's just, NaTuRal is actually not really able to find a nice opening.
Yeah. This is not terrible trades, yeah, right here, and Super realized it too, like, oh, maybe I need some potent overtures over here. Gotta get the Guardian Shield on the action most of the time as well, and NaTuRal is taking some okay trades. I'm gonna bring them those rocks, make him use a few more force fields at the very least.
Yeah, I feel like you break down the rocks and everything, that's nice, but yeah, Super's like, okay, yeah, that's fine, like, let's break down the rocks. I bought enough time. Oh man, Medivac's gonna go down. That kind of stings, considering these two Medivacs are very low on energy. I guess he has two more joining in with a decent amount.
I'm not even sure what that 5th Medivac was.
Yeah, we're like... That's not like a production round of like 2 Medivacs at a time that you normally see, but... Oh, Warp Prism getting slowly taken out by the Cyclone. Cyclone does not manage to keep a connection, though.
Yeah, that kind of sucks for NaTuRal. Loses 5 more SCVs. This isn't devastating, but it's really adding up here. 15 SCVs in total. More going to go down in the main. That Warp Prism, if only a Viking was created or a Wood of Mine was planted on that cliff, definitely would have gone down. This wouldn't have been such a headache. And now 15 has turned into 32. Oof.
15 has turned this into an all-in, I think, from NaTuRal, who still just has a smaller force. The Adepts might even just shade on top of NaTuRal's force and just say, like, no, to hell with it. Like, I can take you out in the middle of the map. Because look at this force with all the Stalkers, the Immortals, the Sentries, versus just 4 Medivacs worth of units, and that's all to NaTuRal's name in terms of army supply.
Super is a little out of position for this, but not so much that I think he would lose the 4th, unless NaTuRal like specifically targeted it. He's gonna go into the main. Might drop 1 Medivac over here. Nope, just straight to the main base. There's actually not too much to help here. Militia Corps is out of position. There she is.
Yeah, there's a couple of Photon Overcharges that do go down. It's going to be able to push this back, at least moving the entire army up here over here to the main base. At the same time, another engagement happening on the other side, trying to defend that 4th expansion. Looks like Super is going to be A-okay on that front, but the 3rd expansion might end up actually taking some damage.
The simulators go down. That is annoying, but not devastating. As long as the Medivacs get out, I suppose, this could still go a little bit farther. No, they drop on top of an army. Oh, and the Immortals in there. It's like nothing but Marauders.
Yeah, but I feel like this is a large enough army that can take out this small of a Protoss force, maybe, especially with only Stalkers left over versus the Marauders. But yeah, I mean, like, he needs to do nearly game-ending or equalizing damage over here, and all he's really done is trade out okay. Not even amazing.
Yeah, the NaTuRal army didn't do very much either. I think he just made me pull the probes. Yeah, 32 SCVs killed just to the 7 probes.
Ugh, even losing a Medivac on the way out. The other 2 Medivacs very low on health. And now the army tries to move back in over here to the 4th expansion, put on some pressure, but I think this might just be it for NaTuRal in game number 1. Super is just going to push across the map, and unless this goes into the weirdest base trade ever, I don't see how NaTuRal managed to make this work.
Yeah, 70 supply difference, half of that being, I suppose, in that army supply. Upgrades have also accelerated. I didn't even notice this for Super. Wood of Mines are scouted and will get a hit off on the Observer, actually, but not the army.
I mean, maybe if you just take out enough of those, your Wood of Mines will eventually kill off the entire army.
Yeah, all 2 of his Wood of Mines.
All 2 of his Wood of Mines. GG gets called. Super gonna be the first one to take the game.
Okay, so that's going to be map choice to NaTuRal then. How do we do it in the league?
Yeah, I think that I actually have this overlaid incorrectly. I think this is round of 8, I guess.
Is it? Yes, it is.
All right, so yeah, definitely not the round of 32. That's something I had set up earlier on. All right, game number 2, as you were mentioning, gonna go to. Do we know the map yet?
Dusk Towers.
Dusk Towers.
Duck Towers.
Want to give you guys a quick reminder, of course, the Olimoleague is a really, really awesome Korean tournament. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with it, but a lot of the money, if not all of the money, is pretty much funded through a Patreon page. So if you guys want to support the Olimoleague, if you want to actually help them grow and actually get a bigger prize pool, etc., draw in more awesome players, maybe some of the other top-level Kespa players, then one really great way to do it is head over to patreon.com/Olimoleague. And you can contribute as much as you want or much as you can. And here's the big thing that I want to emphasize is that the way Patreon works is it's not about saying, oh, yeah, can you donate like $50 a month or $50 per tournament or anything. You can do that if you have the spare income and if you're interested in really showing a big amount of support. But a lot of it's even just having a ton of people contributing small little amounts that adds up. So for example, Olimoleague has right now 99 different patrons. So if you can even spare like $1 or $2 if you want to throw that kind of support over, that's one really great way to do it. But we are heading into Dust Towers for game number 2. We'll see you guys there. Alright, we're hopping back into it once again, but really quickly, big shout out to the one and only Partoof, the very first subscriber to BaseTradeTV, 32-month resub. I guess that's how long you guys have had a sub button.
Yeah, we're almost to 3 years.
Jeez.
Impressive, right?
That's insane. What are you guys going to do for the 3-year Partoof anniversary?
Bathe in Partoofs.
Bathe in Partoof.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I don't know how comfortable I'll be with that.
New ad screen break, but here we go. Spawning up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, the red Terran player. Give it up for NaTuRal from Team MVP.
In the bottom left, as the blue Protoss, he is super. You know what? We definitely cast NaTuRal before, because Rifkin could not get over me saying NaTuRal's gonna be taking his natural.
Oh my
god.
god.
He kept on just being like,
Well, it's a good thing the map is Dust Towers, and we're gonna say the reason why you call it a natural is because it's an obvious natural choice. But in this case, it's not always super obvious. I mean, in this matchup, it's a little bit more obvious, but it's not as obvious.
I know where we would have cast him then. The Korean Ting qualifiers, of course. There's been such a lack of things like Korean that we've been casting, you know, there's no more IM Korean qualifiers. The Olimoleague was on break for a month. I really forgot we were doing anything at all, but we actually got those groups set up too, I believe, for the Korean groups. That might have been posted on the Ting forum thread yesterday.
Yeah, it's nice to get, and that's actually one of the things I really like about the Olimoleague. Is that even though oftentimes, like, I'm not actually waking up this early for Olimoleague, generally I'm waking up in about like 30 to 45 minutes from now, and then I start playing Olimoleague on my phone as like I lazily sit in bed for like 2-3 hours until it's over. But it is one of those like nice opportunities where you get to see the Korean players playing outside of GSL and SSL and Pro League, because, you know, those are sort of limited times during the week. You only have a couple of players playing every day, and this is one of those opportunities where you get to see like a lot of different players playing all in the same day.
Yeah. Today was a little unfortunate because of the Doyu Cup. It took away 3 of our Terrans, like most importantly 3 of our Terrans. So and also a couple of our big names, because I know like Beyond not doing so hot in the actual Korean qualifiers, I guess is going back to participating in online tournaments. He did win the Ting wildcard group, or qualifiers rather, so that's pretty cool. And I think it was more and more people, or hopefully as more and more people actually don't, well, I mean, not hopefully for them, but when they don't actually make it through the GSL or the SSL, we'll look to something like the Olimoleague. I mean, I know already a couple of groups the GSL and SSL have gone through, so I was planning all those invites and whatnot. I was looking at the schedule. So hopefully we see more and more as they realize that it's back up for the rest of eternity.
Yay!
Hopefully.
Ooh, the Reaper may not get quite as lucky as the last game. No, he's getting pretty damn lucky. Oh no, not so lucky anymore. Look at this Wallen.
Yeah. He sees what's really important though, and
Yeah.
that is a regular build once again. I mean, there is like that slight fear they somehow added 2 gateways to the north of that robo or something like that, but it looks pretty normal. And at third base, unfortunately, he did not scout, but if it's going to be like last game, if you assume so, then he's absolutely correct. It is Blink again, and Blink is also fairly popular on Dusk Towers.
Yeah, we do have a drop coming out immediately from NaTuRal. This was a really fast 1-1-1 opening as I zoom in on the rocks instead of the medevac. But we are going to have a Warp Prism follow-up. So I was kind of wondering, there's a fairly fast third expansion, which isn't super weird, but Twilight Robo, are we going to see that Zest style where you get a bunch of observers and ridiculous map vision? But no, we are going to be seeing first dealing with the drop pretty well. Folks firing down the Widowmine first, and now going to be able to get the medevac.
Oh, wow, gets with the last shot. This is a stalker for it, but getting the Widowmine and the medevac is absolutely worth it. Okay, I'm gonna say stalker. That was defensive on a Mothership Core, I'm going to add. Like, the Mothership Core is out and about. She's almost on full energy, but she just did not bother with it.
SCV going to come over here and scout out the third expansion, confirm it, and the fact that I think the third expansion is just now starting for NaTuRal is probably not the best sign, especially considering how poorly that harassment went. But maybe the Liberator harassment will go a little bit better, as the couple only stalkers that are out on the map right now are moving out, and the gateways aren't quite finished up just yet for Super.
So there is one little tiny spot the Liberator does, like, you actually can't touch it, and it touches one of the mineral patches, but even if I found it, it would be so insignificant. I guess this is it. So 2 mineral patches, but still, like, that's like the lowest 2 mineral patches. Doesn't even touch that one the probe's on right there.
I actually really like this position, even though it's like barely not getting some of these probes, but it's because there's only one entry point in behind the mineral patch, but looks like he's not going to be able to trade out the best. Doesn't actually get any of the stalkers.
Yeah, you just don't get really anything from that. That at most is going to keep them microing back at home, which I mean can be really important, especially when you need time, and NaTuRal certainly needs time. Like, he went for a harassment build that did no harassment, that's still not alive to continue to pressure, and he does not have a lot of units behind it. His production is only just getting set up, so Super and his attack could seriously just win here. Like, I played correctly. Oh,
that missile turret stopping just short of completion. That actually would have been a really, really nice help over here in dealing with the Warp Prism, but Adepts are going to have to be at least transferred out of here, or at least half of them get transferred out.
Yeah, there is a wall on the bottom of that ramp, so they can't, but that's where the stalkers come in. That's where the Warp Prism once again goes into the main base, so more SCV's going down here, and there's actually not enough to take care of it. The Marines are being lazy. Oh god, I think this is just game over. The Warp Prism has no threat. Everything's just going to continue to warp in.
Yeah, it's continuing to warp in. At the same time, a lot of SCVs have also died in the NaTuRal expansion, so I mean, the damage has already been done. Everything else is just a little bit of a bonus over here. And these Adepts, I mean, the Warp Prism, everything is just still going on. Combat Shields is not finished up just yet, so even if that gets focus fire down, that could be causing all kinds of problems. But the production's also being camped.
Yeah. I mean, Super didn't, like, this wasn't the super cleanest attack I've ever seen on the back end of dealing with that Widowmine drop super well, but it didn't even have to be. Like, if the Warp Prism was sniped, he would actually just have to leave, you know?
Yeah.
It took, like, 4 warp-ins to really solidify his position, but it certainly did, and he will take another 2-0.
All right, Super moves on to the semifinals of the Olimoleague. And with that, I think that we are going to hop to another little break. So, ladies and gentlemen, please don't go anywhere. You guys are watching the Olimoleague number 61.